Well, good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Richard Cruz, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Warrant Officer Class 1, Cheryl Elston. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. And during this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you're able, I invite you all to please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. If you're able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private William Matthew Colbert. William Colbert was born in Kapunda, South Australia on the 25th of January 1898, the youngest of 3 surviving sons born to James and Sarah Colbert. He grew up around Kapunda, where he attended Dominican convent school. As a young man, he served for 3 years in the local militia. In 1914, Colbert fell under the sway of 24-year-old Christopher Hartwig, who convinced the 16-year-old to steal sheep with him. The pair were arrested after stealing 98 sheep in 2 separate occasions. According to testimonies given on his behalf, William was easily led, and it proved to be his undoing. In February 1915, despite pleas for leniency from a local member of Parliament, William was found guilty and sentenced to serve time at the Roman Catholic Reformatory until he turned 18. However, William only remained there until late April, when he escaped and travelled to Adelaide. As the First World War had broken out the previous August, he had the means to escape the country. After travelling to the Australian Imperial Force recruiting depot at Keswick, he enlisted on the 4th of May under the name William Matthews. As he was still only 17 years old, he claimed to be 18 and listed his next of kin as a sister with whom he had lost contact. In fact, his only sister had died as an infant before he was born. After some initial training at Mitcham Camp, William was allotted to reinforcements to the 27th Battalion. On the 23rd of June 1915, he embarked on the transport ship Canberra, bound for Egypt. William joined his battalion at Mena Camp in late July, and over the next 2 months continued training. In September, he was admitted to hospital suffering from a perineal abscess. He then developed an infection which led to a fatal case of blood poisoning. Knowing he was dying, William confessed his real name to the hospital staff, and he told them that his mother was his next of kin and passed on his home address. He died on the 21st of September at the age of 17. At least one of his brothers also served during the war. The Colbert family suffered further loss when 24-year-old Private Edward John Colbert was killed in action on the 15th of April 1917 while serving with the 10th Battalion. William Colbert's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is on display today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private William Matthew Colbert, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
If you're able, please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes this evening's last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.